9.5 million people played the Star Wars Battlefront beta. How insane is that? That's across PS4, PC, Xbox One. EA said it was the biggest beta that they've ever done, and most popular one, which, of course, it's Star Wars. How are you not going to make that the most popular one? But we are less than 2 weeks out from the official release of this game. And since the beta, we've been getting massive amount of information from Battlefront that it's time for me to start covering, since this game is getting so dang close. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stone Mountain, and I never even asked you guys what you thought about the beta and if you're excited for the full version of this game. Now that we've got some more information I'm going to be talking about here, maybe you'll have a different opinion, maybe you'll get sparked to be even more interested in this, maybe less interested, but let me know in the comment section what you thought about the beta, if you're going to be getting the game, and what platform are you guys going to be playing on. Let me know in the comment section below, because one of the things I'm most interested in is this game really a top quality game, or is it just a ton of Star Wars hype that's backing it up and drove all 9 million of those people to play? Now, I know there's a lot of people who just are Star Wars fans, but this is epic. Before the beta, the overarching theme that I was seeing, and from my perspective, was that the people who are more hardcore first-person shooters or gamers, people who used to play or even still are playing Battlefield, which was also developed by DICE, the developer of Star Wars Battlefront, were kind of saying, oh, this game's really not going to offer you much. Can't drive the AT-ATs, which turned out to me to be futile. It didn't even matter about that because I was doing so much destruction. No space battles. You're only going to have 4 different maps to play on, which turned out to be 4 different worlds. In total, we're going to have 12 maps at release, with the Battle of Jakku, the 5th world coming shortly after game release. And then your more casual player, which is maybe not into your first-person shooter or into shooters at all or violence games, or maybe they're just sticking to single-player games. This game is solely multiplayer, so now you have this whole new audience coming over, including people who weren't historically multiplayer guys or even gamers at all who are just like Star Wars coming into this game. And the beta seemed extremely well received, at least from the initial comments that I saw in live streams and some tweets that I've been getting. It seemed like even those hardcore guys softened up to the game after playing it, seeing how much destruction you can actually do in the AT-AT. Not having space battles, but being able to destroy the players running around on the ground, actually being able to take down the AT-AT walkers. But there was still limitation on some of the controls that you could do. You didn't have full control over the pitch, yaw, and roll that you have in classic Battlefield jet videos or other air combat vehicles. So there's still some complexities that weren't there. But one of the biggest things that makes multiplayer games, and since this is completely dedicated to multiplayer, is the game modes. And we now know all of the different game modes that are going to be in here. We knew previously the names of them, and I had talked about that, but now we know what each of them are, to an extent. We haven't seen gameplay from all of them, but in the beta, we saw Drop Zone. Pods falling from the sky, first team to capture 5. It was a much smaller, close-quarter game. You didn't have the heroes and villains locked into it. We also saw Walker Assault, defending those AT-AT walkers as they go through Hoth, or on the other side, shooting at them, trying to tow cable, take them down, at the end trying to get that clutch victory. And I probably played it more than I should have, just being way too into it. But at the end of the beta, it started to get repetitive, which is why it's so key to have multiple game modes. And if they have even 1/9 of the amount of people that get this game versus who played the beta, there'll be plenty of people in all of these modes. Not all the modes require a lot of people, though. In fact, the one I'm personally most excited about, even when I just knew the name of it, now we know more, it's even more exciting, is, of course, heroes versus villains. There's going to be a total of 3 heroes and 3 villains in this game. This game mode is going to feature all of them. The way it's going to work is it's going to actually be 6 versus 6. 3 players are going to be rebels, 3 players are going to be the heroes, versus 3 villains with 3 stormtroopers. The most interesting thing is it's going to be a game with multiple rounds, the goal of each round being to destroy all the enemy heroes or villains. And I like that this isn't just a standard team deathmatch. This is going to have a lot of tactic to it. The way that it makes it seem is you're going to have 3 people spawn in as the heroes, for example, with the 3 rebels trying to do everything they can, being much more expendable to take down the villains. They'll be running up, trying to do as much damage as they can. And if you guys play the beta, it's hard to really do significant damage to them. You want to start picking up power-ups and things, which is something that Leia as well as the Emperor will both drop, depending on which side you're on, obviously, but they'll be able to drop health as well as power-ups, and that can get extremely tactical, and I can see this being featured on many different maps and scenarios. The only downside to it is that it's always going to be the same heroes and villains against each other. You're going to have Luke, Han Solo, and Leia versus Boba Fett, the Emperor, and Vader. While it's going to be an insane matchup and a lot of fun, it's always going to be the same. And it would have been really cool to even see one-on-one scenarios, which you will see offline, and I'll talk more about that. But even getting more heroes and villains in here would have been awesome. That being said, this is only happening based on episodes 4 through 6, just the Galactic Civil War period, so there's only so much they can do with that. Fortunately, I'm happy to say I'm only halfway through the list of all of these new modes, and all of these being very unique new modes, of course, except for the classic Team Deathmatch, which is called Blast. But that's a staple. That's got to be in there. Another really unique one is Cargo. This is going to be their capture the flag type of game. And I say type because there's an interesting set of rules with it. Each team's going to spawn with 5 cargos or crates that they're going to have to defend as well as steal from the enemy team. So if I'm on the rebel side, I'm trying to steal the Imperial's crates to get a total of 10 crates on my side. This is a two-way street though, because at the same time I'm running over to their base trying to steal their crates and bring it back, they can come over, steal their own crates back as well as take ours. Whoever has more crates at the end of the time period, or I guess captures all 10, will win the game. It's a simple mode. It's going to be pretty small, only being 6v6, but with all the different gadgets and playstyles you can have within that, I see this being a close quarter, fast-paced game mode, with the biggest issue, as along with many of these other game modes that become more competitive, there's no built-in in-game chat system. So you're playing with 5 other random guys that don't know what they're doing, and you cannot talk to them. You can't tell them you're going to be defending this area, come around on the right side, or they just took our crate moving out on the left side, go cut them off. Unless you have a full party in some type of third-party chat, like the in-game system in Xbox, PS4 party chat systems, or on PC, a TeamSpeak or something, you're not going to be able to communicate with anybody. In big scenarios like Walker Assault, maybe it doesn't make sense to tell everybody tactical things. Maybe nobody would listen. But when you're talking about the smaller ones like hero versus villains, where you're going to play more tactical, it becomes extremely helpful. It's going to depend which mode you're in, though. In some of these next modes, it really wouldn't be that helpful to have chat, including the next one, Hero Hunt. One player's the hero. Everybody else is hunting him down. This sounds like it's going to be almost like a really fun side mini-game where you're just the badass Jedi against all the weak stormtroopers, mowing them all down. So you'll be slicing through some people, but they're going to be shooting back, and whoever ends up killing you as the hero becomes the next hero, and it'll keep cycling through. I love these small little game modes that are unique, one-off little, almost like mini-games, but oh, I hope they do more of that type of stuff with DLC. Anyways, the next mode, the one I think most people will be excited for and playing, is Supremacy. This is going to be similar to your Conquest from Battlefield, or they even had a version of this in Battlefront 2, but it's different from both of those. Instead of capturing the points and earning points for holding these flags or holding these areas down, it only matters who holds the areas at the end of the game, or who can capture all 5 first. Each team will start with 2 capture points and a neutral one in the middle of the map that they'll have to fight it out for first. After that, you cannot just go to any flag. It's going to be sequential with 2 flags being active at a time that you can fight for, 2 areas. Finally, we have Droid Run, which is actually similar to Supremacy, but maybe closer to your Conquest or your Domination from Call of Duty. You're going to have 3 droids across the map that you'll want to secure, and you'll earn points as you hold them. Now, the catch is these are going to be moving droids. They're not just stationary flags that you have to capture. These are droids that are constantly moving and you have to secure. And then the final mode we already knew about since before the beta was Fighter Squadron, 20v20 air combat only. All of these modes, though, you can tell are very unique. They all have their own twist, they have something new about it, and they all sound pretty promising, especially for how this game is going to be set up, the theme. And like I said, this is a mainly multiplayer game, but there are some offline modes that you can kind of take online by challenging somebody 1v1 or getting your partner to come into the mode with you. For example, one of them is survival. We saw a very brief preview of this in the beta by playing on Tatooine. You could only go to the 6 of the 15 waves that it went up to 2 people co-op. There was also smaller challenges like capturing all of the icons during the time period or increasing the difficulty of the troops that you're fighting. The next offline mode, and the one I'm assuming will be the most popular, is battles. You can go in with an army of AI on your team against an enemy army of AI or bots, NPCs. Just a multiplayer scenario with you and a bunch of robots against an enemy team of robots. It's a good way to practice, to get yourself up to speed for multiplayer if you've never really played a multiplayer before. But in addition, you can bring in that partner of yours, play against him and his army of bots against you and your army of bots, or you can even do this as a heroes battle, where now you're playing as Luke, he's playing as Vader, each of you have a team of AI on your team as well, and you're going against killing the enemies, and they're going to drop coins that you pick up, first team to 100 wins. This is another good way to actually play as the heroes and villains, rather than having to go and try and find the icons in a Walker Assault or any other mode, or having to go into heroes and villains where you're still not even always going to be the hero or villain. Since it is 6v6, there's going to be other stormtroopers and rebels that you play as. The last offline mode is training missions, opportunities to practice with air vehicles, different ground vehicles, weapons, and run simulations trying to accomplish whatever they set out for you. In addition, they're going to have more challenging scenarios in here, trying to do things in time limits, collect certain things, I'm sure. Different ways to make this more difficult for the more veteran players who maybe would find regular training too easy. Well, now you've got a challenge to complete alongside this. That's what the game's coming with. 12 maps, 3 heroes, 3 villains, and quite a lot of unique game modes that hopefully will cater well to this Star Wars theme, especially with the unique aspects of the heroes and villains and all of the unique vehicles and weaponry that they're going to have. But there's no campaign, there's no dedicated single player, and even these offline secondary modes, I wouldn't equate them to quite the expansiveness of something like a zombies campaign, although maybe they'll do something really unique with it or put some overarching theme or story behind it. While I think the game's going to be insanely fun, one of my fears for it is the longevity of it. I think it's going to be crazy hyped in November, December, maybe even January, but really start to fall off after that. After you've run every scenario of Walker Assault on all the different maps, used all the heroes, villains to their extent, and played all the different game modes. From what we saw from the beta, though, I found this to be an extremely well-built game that was engaging, fun, great mechanics, and super unique mechanisms and game style, where I think that fun period is gonna be worth it. And I could be completely wrong, and this could last for way longer. Or maybe the simple UI and repetition will be too much, and it'll only last till December. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. And if you're looking for something else, check out the recommended video for some top funny moments from the Battlefront beta. Thanks so much for watching, though, and I'll see you guys soon. This is StoneMount64, over and out.